Okay, the next couple of things I want to go into in recording, and I apologize for this recording tutorial being so long and broken up into different parts, but I just wanted to go through as much as I can that I use and I have used, and any ideas and tips and tricks, and also hopefully everybody who has other ideas and things they use, please put in the comments, and please, you know, let's share everything we can. And if you like this stuff, please subscribe, because there's more stuff coming out and also helps me. And of course, I'm making the plug right now. And please like it, please share it. No, but please add comments, and please say things. And even if you want to say, hey, Gabriel, you're completely wrong on that, this is the way it's supposed to be, just be civil and explain why. And I can definitely admit to any mistakes that I made. So there's my disclaimer. Okay, let's go on to two other things, and then we can pretty much close down on the recording part of these tutorials. And anything else that I come up with and other ideas, I will put addendums out there and other interesting things. So again, if you want to learn more about that, please subscribe. It's very helpful. Okay, so let's talk about the metronome. And a lot of people, a lot of musicians and stuff like that, well, if you say metronome, they're like, no, no, no metronome, please. So I grew up a long time ago in the dark ages of England. I actually go to Renaissance Fair. So if you go to Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair, you can catch me there, and then you'll see me in a totally different outfit than this. I digress. So, yeah, I'm from the medieval times. Okay, stop. I want to talk about metronome. So when I grew up, and I took piano lessons when I was in third grade with the nuns in a Catholic school, and my parents made myself and my brother and sisters do that, and I hated it at the time. I totally hated it, but I learned music theory, so it totally paid off and got me into playing guitar and stuff like that, you know, in the 60s and 70s. Oops, he's saying his age. And on top of the piano was always a metronome. And I don't know if you've ever seen a real metronome, but it's this pyramid thing. You take the front off, and there's this thing that goes back and forth, and there's a weight on that thing that goes back and forth, and you wind it up with a little wind-up thing. Nothing was electronic at the time. And then you would move that thing, and it would go. And if you move the weight down lower, it would go faster. And you move the weight up higher, it would go slower. And that's how you adjusted the metronome and the tempo. There was nothing on that thing that said, 120 beats per minute. There was nothing like that at all. So you learn very manually, but it was always something you hated, because it was like that, and it just was annoying. But there is a purpose to it, and I'm sorry that we're going to have to use it, folks. So playing to a click, or a metronome, provides the ability that you are in time with your time signature of the song in the DAW, D-A-W, digital audio workstation. He's talking too fast. And that allows you to be able to cut and paste things around. That allows you to create these things up here that you're seeing, like verse 1, chorus 1. That's all on the timing of these bars. And when I create my songs, I use bars, because I like to have, the quarter notes, eighth notes, stuff like that. Again, excuse me, I apologize for that. Growing up, with music at third grade on, you tend to think always music theory. But that provides you the ability to be in time with the song and the song tempo. So if you don't do that, you're going to end up being anywhere, and then you won't be able to use these bars, and that's the whole point of it. First of all, being in tempo consistently through the song is a good thing. You don't want to be speeding up, slowing down. So if you play to a click, you will be consistent, and you can always quantize, but that's a whole other thing. And then you'll be able to ensure that you're not only in tempo the whole time, but that you are in sync with the song, so you can do all that other kind of stuff. So please play to a click. Or some people have the drummer play to a click, and then they'll play to the drummer. Now that's great, as long as the drummer is actually close enough. Because if the drummer starts swaying from that click, and I've had this happen, then you playing the guitar to the drums will sway from the click. So to me, whoever's recording is playing to a click. The only person that doesn't, in my mind, play to a click would be a vocalist. Because a vocalist can be anywhere on the song. You know, that's really a free form kind of thing. So there are ways to avoid the click by this bottom thing down here in Studio One called input quantize in record mode. And look at my track tutorial. But input quantize allows you to quantize the input as it's coming in. Now, that would be very difficult with a whole drum set because it's not going to be able to pick out. It's going to have to be monophonic, right? So it's going to be like just a guitar or solo or something like that. And if you listen to Wonderland, the solo at the end of the chorus after the bridge, it's kind of like a music boxy kind of solo. And I actually put this input quantize on to get that music box thing. So now where I was playing after I set my intervals, whether it's a quarter note or whatever in the quantize, it just pushed me right onto the quantize note. And it gives that, just listen to it, it gives that kind of music box effect. Then if you look at the beginning, listen to the beginning of Yellow Butterfly, which is a classical guitar, I did not have input quantize on, and generally don't put quantize on unless there's a specific reason. And that I'm kind of sliding a little bit and hesitating and doing all kinds of stuff. I'm still playing to a click. I still listen to the click. But, you know, if you get used to this, then you can hear the click and sway from the click because you're intentionally doing it. And that's okay. All right, so real quick on the click. 5 times fast, anybody? So down here in Studio One, he takes a breath. Down here in Studio One, we have the thing called Metronome, and there's that little triangle thing with a little line coming out of it, what I explained. So when you see that, that's a metronome, but it's not actually a physical one. And then there's a wrench here, and then there's this other little dot that says pre-count. So the first thing to do is click on the wrench. Brings up a dialog box, and here we are. This is where you set whether you want to hear a rim shot, and the beat or the accent rim shot. The offbeat could be a click, so it'll have a clicky sound. And if you drop down these dialog box things, you can pick anything. How about a metronome, a rim shot, a tambourine? How about a clavinet, a cowbell? So play with it. It's great. There's all kinds of things. Whatever makes you feel comfortable that you're hearing in the click. I'm going to leave it where it is right now. And then the other thing you can do is a pre-count or a pre-roll. What's the difference? Or you can have them both off. So the difference is a pre-count. See where the cursor is here? If that's where I'm going to start recording, a pre-count is going to give me a click ahead of the actual recording. So it's going to be a pre-count. It's going to give you a count of how far. This many bars. So I have it as 1 bar. So it should be, this is 4/4 time. So it should be click, 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 start record. Okay? So that, if I have the pre-count on. If I don't have the pre-count on, it's going to go right into the record, and it will have either click on or click off, but it would be stupid to have the click off. So here are the options that you have down here. Repeat accent, which I don't use. Click in pre-count only. Now what that says is, when the pre-count happens, and we're going to do examples here. When the pre-count happens, which is 1, 2, click 1, 2, 3, 4, without the cursor moving, okay? If you say click in pre-count only, what's going to happen is it's going to go 1, it's going to click, 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 start recording, but then the click's going to go away. The click is only in the pre-count. And that would be something if you have enough reference in the song from drums that are really well played and you can play to that stuff, and you feel, I don't want to hear the click, I just want to hear the timing of the song ahead of the record. So I just get myself prepared. Click, 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 start recording, and then I'm listening to the drums. I still think you should have the click on the whole time, but that gives you the option to do that. Click and play is after you're done and you play back the thing, it's going to click. So that's a way to say, am I on time or not? So that's what click and play is. I don't put that on. No, I can tell whether I play to the click well enough that it is fine. Okay, so let's do some examples here. So this will be no pre-count and no pre-roll. Now down here, in this dialog box down here, the metronome on means that the metronome is on. The wrench means we're looking at the dialog box, and this other button here is, if you click it, it'll put the pre-count on. So if I click that, you notice the pre-count got checked. So if you don't have the dialog open and you want to turn the pre-count on, you just have to hit this button down here, or the button's off, I can just go here and click that box. And then that light goes on down here. So that's what that is. There's nothing down here really for, I think is there a pre-roll? I thought there was, but anyway. So let's do each example. So the first one would be no pre-count, no pre-roll, and I have click and pre-count only off, so this will mean the click will click through the record. And I believe I can keep the box open and do this, so let's do it. And this is just my voice talking here, and this is track enabled here. So this is just start recording with a click. And there it is. That's what it did. Undo. Okay, let's put the pre-count on. Now, pre-count, the cursor will stay here, but you'll hear, since I have it set to 1 bar, I can change that. It'll have 4 clicks, then start recording, and the click will be in the record because I have click and pre-count only off. Okay, and then there's that. So now you have, which I do. I'd have the pre-count on because I want to hear the timing of the song before the song even plays, before anything, so I get myself prepared with the tempo in my mind. Turn that off. Now, let's put the cursor here. And I believe that jumped 1 because I wasn't directly on the note, the quarter note. Okay, so let's take pre-count off and put pre-roll on. Now, if I have pre-count on, you notice it took pre-roll off. If I put pre-roll on, it takes pre-count off. You use one or the other because it doesn't make any sense both together. So what's pre-roll? Pre-roll says that it's going to actually go backwards in time, that number of bars, and then start the play so you hear the song with the click. Now the pre-count just sat there. You couldn't hear the song. It was just 1, 2, 3, 4. Record starts, you hear the song. Pre-roll does the same kind of thing, but actually goes backwards that number of bars or whatever you have set, and will start at that point with your kind of pre-count, but with the song playing. And that's probably the most ideal to me, because now you're hearing the click, you're hearing the song ahead of the point of where it's going to engage with recording, and you get the best of both worlds. So let's try that. So if you saw that, it went backwards 4 bars. I'm sorry, four notes, and the song played. I didn't put the song on, but the song will play, and it will start recording again at the point where you want it to record, but you get to hear the kind of the pre-count and the song at the same time. So these are options that you can play with, and I think they're pretty good. I really like them because it gives you a lot of options for the taste that you have and the kind of thing you want to do. So let's do this. Let's do pre-count with click in pre-count only. Okay? So, as we said, what's going to happen? I'm going to get the 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to start recording, but then the click's not going to play. And there you go. Okay, so that's your metronome. Undo that. And that's what you can do. Now, and again, you can have different sounds and stuff like that you want. But I highly recommend using this because it will save you in the end, or any way you can. If you don't want to use this and you have another way of keeping in tempo, do it. Just make sure that you're in tempo to the song and the timing of the song. If you have any other ideas other than using a metronome in order to ensure that you are in tempo and on beat, please put in the comments. Love to hear. Okay, so the last thing here is render. You can actually render this metronome. What? Yes, you can render the metronome, and I'm not going to do it here because I never do it. I'm not sure why you would do it. Well, I think I know why you would do it. So you can actually create a track, and you render this, and it'll actually put a click track, and that's what you used to call it, I think, back in the day of the days. It would create a track, a physical track of the metronome. So then you don't have to keep opening up this dialog box, and you just play the song, and the track's there. And you can always get rid of the track. But that's just one way of having it, so it's always there. So the next person that records, you don't have to reset this or anything like that. It's just there's a track there, and the whole song has pretty much a metronome on it. So cool. Okay, if you have any other ideas, put them into the comments, and I'll get rid of that. Now let's go to the next one. Punching in and punching out. This is something that if you've been recording and stuff like that, you know how to use and you know the benefit of it. So, oh, that sounded weird. Okay, see, I'm human. I don't care about, I just like to give content. So if I make noises like that, I could cut it out, but I'm not going to. Now, if it's not there, then you know I cut it out. What? Okay, so now let's go to the, down here, this little pin, and it says auto punch. And I'm looking like this because I have my webcam in front of me. And if I turn that on, it goes red. That means auto punch is on. And if I turn it off, that means auto punch is off. That's all you can do down here, and that's what you only really need to do. So there's two ways to do punch in and punch out. One is manual, and one is auto. So manual would be if I am taking this track here, and I'm going to do something just to get some real estate here. Take this track, and I'm going to move it out of the way so we can see it clearly. There. Now, I recorded this, and I think I made it fatter than it was. So I recorded that, my voice, and say I was singing it, and this section right here, take the range tool, and let's say this section right here, okay, is bad. I choked something or whatever. But the rest of the performance, which might be like for a really long time, was great. Excuse me, get rid of that wheeze. Was great. Do you want to re-sing the whole thing just to fix that one little part? No, you don't want to do that. That would not be cool. So, because you can just make more mistakes. So don't just keep recording. If you get a good record, whether it's guitar or anything, you can punch in anything. I've punched in drums. Trust me. And you want to know the trick about punching in drums? Well, at least how I do it. You listen to the snare. When you're playing it back, you listen to the snare. Now, the drummer's playing along with what they already played. And you listen to the snare, and I use it, and I do it manually. And I'll hit the record button right before the next snare hit, right before that snare hit, so that it starts recording, bam, on that snare hit. And you'll never catch it. You'll never hear it. That's, well, I've never heard it by doing it that way. Little tip and trick on the way I punch in a full drum kit play. So I just explained the manual way. So the manual way would be, and I'm going to do it right now, is hit the record button and then hit the record button off. Now, I'm not going to turn on auto punch because I'm doing it manually. So if I started here and I wanted to fix this section right here, right there, I would hit play, and then when it gets to that point, I'm going to hit the record button right at this point here, right there, and then I'm going to hit the record button again right there because I see a space here and I see a space there that I can do it. Now, if this is fully engulfed and there's no spaces in between something, you can still punch in and punch out, but you have to be really find the exact place you want to do it so it doesn't sound, because when you punch in, you're going to record over something. If there's already sound there and there's no gaps, then you got to really be good at your punching in and punching out. We used to do challenges in the studio years ago. I said this before, who could punch in the best? And we'd be like, and we're actually punching in, we're actually doing it, and we'd be like really dramatic about it with the finger. Boom. So, he's going back memory lane. Okay, let's shut up and let's just do it. Okay, so you don't hit record. I'm going to hit record at this point here. So we're going to hear my voice, and then I'm going to record over it. Okay, this is me recording, and now I punched in, and now I'm punching out. Straightforward stuff. So now I record. Okay, so I just punched in and punched out manually. I just hit the record, hit play, hit the record button, hit the record button out. Very simple. So if I play that back, okay, this is me recording, and now I punched in, and now this is pretty straightforward stuff. So easy, okay? But why would you want to do that when you don't have to do that? So I'm going to undo. Now let's turn on the auto punch. Dun, dun, dun. Now the auto punch, if it's going to be auto, it needs to know when to punch in and punch out. It's just going to do the same thing. It just needs to know when. So how do you tell it when? Well, in different DAWs, I'm sure there's different ways, but in Studio One, it's pretty straightforward. So generally, I'll take this button over here, which if you look at my navigation tutorial for Studio One, which explains it, but what it does is it zooms in horizontally, and I'll tend to do that so I can see things better. And then, remember, I want to do this little section here. So at top here, if I go all the way up above these numbers, I'm going to get a pencil. See it? Up here? Look up here. I get a pencil. And this is the thing where I can set a range in the timeline like that. And has multiple purposes. One, if you press the loop button down here, so you want to loop back and forth play in the same section, say you're trying to work out a guitar solo and you're looping a section, that would be the section that gets looped. Another purpose of doing that is that's the section that will get recorded when you do auto punch. Okay, that's the section that will get recorded when you do auto punch. Now, I just drew that. Do I have to draw it again to line it up? No. I can grab the end of one side and pull it in right there, and grab the end of this one, pull it in right there. And now this range that I have is where it's going to record. So you have to line this up. If it's very tight here, you don't have, this has a lot of space in between where I want to do it. But if it was really tight, let's say like right here, say I want to punch in right after this first phrase and that little guy there, and I want to get right into there, then you have to line this up. And one thing I wish it had would be that this range actually overlaid on top of the actual event. It's when you look at it, it's kind of behind it. And so then I'll do that, and I think that's lined up. And then what I'll do is I'll take the cursor and I'll line the cursor up with this by just clicking close to it. It lines it up, and I can see if I'm on. See, I'm off. So unless I'm not on the thing exactly. Yeah, right there. I'm on it, and it is in between. So little manual there when you get tight, but that's going to happen anyway in any DAW. If you have a very tiny spot where you're going to punch in at, you're going to have to line it up. And then you can test it and move it and stuff like that. So I'm just going to do the easy way with the big space here, just to show the functionality. I have my punch in on, so I can put this cursor anywhere in front of that. And now with the punch in on, I can actually hit the record button. Is what you have to do. Hit the record button and it will not start recording. It'll start recording when that range is hit by the cursor. So I made the mistake before, like, okay, let's record, and I hit the play button. Like if I hit the play button right now, and I'm just not thinking, I'm just being stupid. So I hit the play button. Okay, this is me recording, and you can see it coming in. And I'm like, what the heck? What the heck? Why didn't it punch in? And I did something and it didn't punch in. I'm like, oh, because I'm being a doofus and I hit the play button instead of hit the record button. So now if I hit the record button, and I'm not going to talk, you're just going to see, well, I can talk on top of it. Here we go. Now the record button is not going to record until it hits that range. Okay, okay, let's do one thing. Let's get the click out. Okay. Well, that's annoying. And you can have a click in if you need to click, but anyway. Okay, so here we go. Okay, this is me recording, and I'm punching in at this point. And this is pretty straightforward stuff. So I hit the record button once at the start, and it did it. So if I play it back, you can hear it. You already heard it. Okay, this is me recording, and I'm punching in at this point. And this is pretty straightforward stuff. Okay, I'll undo that. And that's pretty much it for punching in and punching out. It's really versatile. Tend to do it, a fair amount because you tend to, we're all human. We're going to make mistakes. And so that allows for you to fix things. Just a couple words of warning. If you're going to do punching in and punching out, I'll kind of do it right after you do the recording. And the reason why is, levels and stuff like that. So if you move off that and you're doing another vocal somewhere, but you adjust the levels and you come back here, you're not at the same level that you had when you first recorded this. So, and it's not a problem, but that section there might come in louder because you changed the level of that input for something else. And now you come back here, and then you're going to use that input again. You do for another vocal. Somebody was singing. You had to turn it up higher. And next thing you know, you come, oh, I got to punch this in. And you punch this in, and this thing's like really loud compared to the rest of it. You can do that. You can adjust it. You can fix it after the fact. But to avoid that, just punch in and punch out after the record, after you're done. Just do it right away, so you don't have to worry about it. Worry about levels. Now, the last thing, and then we'll close down for this long recording tutorial, part 1, part 5, part 444.7, is I get caught in this all the time, even now. I forget that I have the auto punch on. So I did punching and stuff like that, went away, came back the next day, And I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to go record. I'm going to create another track here. So let's unsolo this, unrecord this. I'm going to create a track, audio track under that. And that's what will happen because that's the one that's highlighted. And there's a new audio track and it's green. That's great. So now I'm going to record here. Now auto punch is on. Okay. And let's say that I'm recording this down here. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to start here. This is where I'm going to do my record. I'm going to enable the track. I'm going to, oh, there's that latency again. Get rid of that. I'm going to hit solo so we don't have to hear the whole song. And I'm going to record this track right here. Cool. I'm all set, psyched, ready to go. Okay, I can put my metronome on and whatever. And I'm not going to put the metronome on, so we can just go straight forward. So I'm going to hit record, and it's going to start recording right here, and then I'm going to be able to do my performance. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to hit the record button. Because say this is a new track, and it's further down than I'm going to record, so I'm just going to hit the record button ahead of time. So I hit the record button, and nothing is recording. What? Hit stop. I know right away, just from being stupid enough half the time or more. I got auto punch on. There it is. Now I take auto punch off, and I hit the record button, and it starts to record. So that's something that if you hit the record button and it's not recording, it doesn't mean that your whole world crashed. It just means that you have the auto punch on, and the range, if you remember, was all the way back here. Now here's another thing. If, to bypass that, if you always want to be sure that you don't have to worry about whether that's on, so I'm going to turn the auto punch on again. I'm not within the range, so it should not record, but you can bypass that if you hit the play button first and then the record button. Remember, I hit the record button because, like, if I'm going to play the guitar, whatever, at this point here, I'll give myself a little lead time, and I'll just hit the record button, and then I'll get rid of the front of that by just resizing the event. So I don't hit play and then record every time. I just move myself to where I want to be and I hit the record button. And that's why I get called all the time. But watch this. I'm going to hit the play button, and then in a couple seconds, I'm going to hit the record button. And the auto punch is on. It will record. Play. Record. There it is. So there's a couple little tips and tricks there that if you get caught with that, that's fine. If you always want to ensure that, I don't care if that auto punch is on or not, then always just hit play first and then record. And you can do it like real fast. Play, record. So a couple things to note. And that's pretty much it for recording. Hopefully these parts of recording that I've put out here for tutorial were helpful both in concept, experience, and technique. Again, this is using Studio One, 4.6, 5.5 is not going to be much different. This adds more features. So a lot of this stuff, almost all this stuff, is translatable to other DAWs like Pro Tools and I think Ableton and stuff like that. I've never used anything but Pro Tools and Studio One, so I don't know about the other ones. If you have or are using the other ones, and some of their stuff is slicker than this, and you want to talk about it, and please put in the comments and say, look, I use this, and this is how this works, and this is really easy. Or somebody, if you have a question and like, but I don't use Studio One, I use this. Well, put it in the comments and then ask anybody in the comments to say, hey, does anybody here use this? Gabriel's being nice about, the Studio One DAW, but I use this and I can't figure it out. Well, this is a community. We're all in it together to be creative, to create great music, stuff that we love, stuff that people love, and be unique, be diverse, be yourself, and enjoy. And technical things and stuff like that, we should just share, And the only reason I'm going to say that, because over the years, again, prior to DAWs and stuff like that, we had outbound equipment. I mean, I had real tapes. The learning curves were a lot. It took a while to learn how to do certain things, especially when you don't have all this technology. And it would have been helpful at times that somebody just said, hey, by the way, if you just do this, it's done. Okay, that saved me about 3 weeks. I'm being facetious, but it's just, please, let's help each other. If you have any questions, please ask me. If you want me to go through some other concepts of not just recording and stuff like that, because on this channel, I I'm a novelist. I'm a published novelist on Amazon. It's so cool to say that, isn't it? I'm a published novelist. And look up my name, Gabriel Kevin, Gabriel, and Kevin, Kevyn, and check out my novel and my book of poetry. And I'm coming out with a couple more novels and stuff like that. But I also have tutorials on how I wrote my novel and how to create plots and characters. And this is what I do. But other people do it differently. So again, there's a lot of stuff out here. And please add your comments. Please add your ideas. Please share it with people. Like, I know this guy who could really use this advice, and just share it. Okay. Please subscribe. That helps you get more stuff coming in that's going to be new. Please ask me if you want to do other things that you want me to research or show that I haven't showed. Like, I don't think I have something out there for quantize, so I'm going to have to put something out there for that. And so subscribe. Please like it if you like it. If you dislike it, just say why you disliked it. Let's be civil. Let's be honest about it. Or just say, you're wrong about this one. This is the way it really works. Okay, fine. Thanks for correcting me. And please share it. So hopefully this is helpful. I just wish everybody to have a great creative experience and creative life, and happy songwriting, happy mixing, happy mastering, happy producing, happy everything. Just there's enough junk in the world that this kind of stuff should make you happy when you do it, and your end product. So whether it's a novel or it's music or it's live singing and stuff like that, or playing, whatever makes you happy, go for it. Do what you love what you do. And I'll leave you at that. Have a great, beautiful day. Thank you. Bye.